Here we go. We are live. This is a preview. This has been the VIP call. Let's pop these over like this a little more. Grab a better view. So all of you on the live call here, you should be watching this simultaneously, Meerkat or Periscope, just under my name, Tai Lopez. I hope you know how to spell my name, T-A-I-L-O-P-E-Z. Someone said there are 7. So question for you guys popping in here. Are you relentless? Here's the definition we're talking about. As you guys know, Michael Jordan's coach. Michael Jordan said he's second to none in the knowledge of training. So Kobe Bryant, all the greats, this is what they talk about. So, question for you. We're doing this, you can do it on Meerkat, Snapchat, 1 to 10. What are you in terms of your relentless ability to stick to one thing? So 2 tests I want you to give. Reading, if you're a 1, you can't even sit and read for a second. If you're a 10, you can read for 3 hours without getting off a chair. Then physically, on physical exercise, 1 to 10. A 1 means you go to the gym once and you can't stick to your routine. A 10, you go to the gym for a year. You stick to your diet for a year. So tell me, you need to be writing a comment that says, book focus, 1 to 10. Give your number. Health focus, 1 to 10. You gotta be an 8, 9, or 10. Steven Schwartzman, one of the wealthiest people in the world. The greatest line I've ever read from him. This is what Steven Schwartzman said. He said, somebody asked him, he was speaking at Stanford. He started Blackstone. And someone asked him about hiring somebody. And they said, you know, how do you hire people? How do you find a business partner? And I think this applies to every area of your life. He said, well, if you hire a 10, you'll always be rich. If you have business partners, employees, affiliates that are 10s, he said, you will be rich always. He said, if you hire 9s, okay, things are gonna go awesome. He said, if you hire 8s, it'll probably work out in the long run. And then the person who was interviewing him, this girl, said, what about 7s? And Steven Schwartzman goes, I don't even know what that is. That's insane. So each of you, this book is about being a closer, being a cleaner. You want to be a cleaner. Michael Jordan was a cleaner. Warren Buffett is a cleaner. Bill Gates is a cleaner. Bill Gates went in a room, locked himself in a room for 10 years. He said from age 20 to age 30, he never took 1 day off from building Microsoft. You know what the result of that is? 16-time richest man in the world. Revolutionized. You might not, Microsoft wasn't perfect, agreed. But it was cutting edge and it put computers in everybody's hands, just like Steve Jobs. So appreciate and respect, even if you don't think it's perfect. If you're looking for perfection in mentors, you might as well quit looking, because you'll never find one. One of the things this book talks about is that the greatest people in the world, the cleaners, they all have a dark side. Tim Grover has worked with 300 professional athletes and other business people too. He said every one of them has a dark side, and you must learn to harness the dark side. And so when you see Bill Clinton, he had a dark side, right? He made a mistake, okay? Monica Lewinsky. You have Michael Jordan, gambling potential issues, you know, all this stuff. You have Kobe Bryant, had a big one. Now, you know, I don't know the truth, and I don't even care. Exactly, it's none of my business really. It's between him and the woman, that whatever happened, and it's done. And so obviously you're not condoning negative behavior, but what you must do is you must be able to harness through focus. Like I was talking about, for those of you who have been on this live call, I'm letting you guys on Periscope and Meerkat get a little 5-minute preview of what people, if you're not in the 67 Steps VIP program, you are losing out. We're going through the best books in the world. I'm actually going to be interviewing Tim Grover, okay? Those of you in the accelerator, you're going to get access to some of the more cutting edge stuff. And I'll put some of it in the 67 steps too. So, going through this, remember, who here is an 8, let's see, 8, 9, or 10 on both of them? Books 9, physical workout 8, focus 4, health 7. I can say focus for the gym for a week. Well, that's like a 3 or a 2. Reading a novel an 8, reading a textbook 4. Well, what do you think is going to be better for you? Reading a novel or reading knowledge? You got to be able to be a 10 in both. You don't always have to be a 10 in both. You need to be an 8, 9, or 10 in both. Where's the $100 bill that you usually put in? Yeah, I don't keep them in when I'm doing my live calls, but I don't use them all the time. But I like using a $100 bill. If they had a $1,000 bill, that's what I'd rather use. You're a 9 in both. Now, okay, some of you who are saying you're an 8, 9, or 10, it needs to be visible. One of the things, most people are delusional. So, if you're an 8, 9, or 10 in focused reading, your income will go up every time, okay? If you are 8, 9, or 10, but you're reading garbage, you're gonna see no change. So you gotta be reading the right things. So are you an 8, 9, or 10? Are you reading books like this? You know, private equity funds. This is a $350 book that I read. If you want to understand money, you got to understand money. Are you reading Getting More, the #1 Wharton book on how to be persuasive and negotiate? You want to know how to negotiate, buy a car, buy a house? Are you reading books like this, The Magic of Thinking Big? Are you reading Naked Economics, understanding the economic systems? Are you reading books like this, Hatching Twitter? Doesn't just count if you're reading garbage. Now, if you are, some of you are saying you're a 10 in the gym, you should be able to post a picture and you should look like a badass, okay? If you're a 10, you should be able to bench press a lot of weight. If you are a 10, you know, to play basketball for the Miami Heat, the president of the Miami Heat is a guy named Pat Riley, one of the all-time winningest coaches. I think that's a word, winningest. And a fascinating thing about him, if you work for him, if you play for the Miami Heat, when you start the season and you're a guard, you have to be 6% body fat. Now, I don't know if you know what 6% body fat looks like. 6% body fat is like a 6-pack, plus you can see, it's more like an 8-pack. If you're a center, that means you're like Shaquille O'Neal. You gotta be 8% body fat. So if you're 7 foot, you need to be weighing about, 280. If you are, just to put that in perspective, if you're 6 foot tall, Michael Jordan was 6'6" and weighed between 190 and 215. Magic Johnson was 6'9" and weighed 220. So if you are a 9 or a 10, because that's what you guys are putting, I want to see your DEXA. The DEXA is a measurement of your fat. Put the calipers on you. Right now I go up and down in weight. I'm probably like 12 to 14%. Sometimes I've cut down to 9% one time in the last year. But for a dude, you need to get below 12%. If you're a bodybuilder, you're gonna be a little bit bigger because you're gonna put on mass, probably like 12. Although some bodybuilders cut to like 5. Michael Jordan was 4% body fat at one point. So that's a 10, by the way, guys. Don't be BSing yourself or me. All right, if you are reading like Warren Buffett, who reads 8 hours a day, Bill Gates goes on 2-week book vacations every year where he brings stacks, 20, 30, 40 books that he reads in 2 weeks, then you're a 10, okay? And it should show in your bank account. All right, so I hope you guys are not lying to yourself. I don't care if you lie to me. No sweat off my back, but it should be off yours. Somebody said, want to have a picture. Yeah, so send me a picture of your bank account and send me a picture of you, with no shirt on, if you're a guy. If you're a girl, okay? Bro, do you even lift? I love when people write that. You got to think of a more creative, that's an old cliche. Someone said I'm a 6. And yes, I lift for different things. When you play basketball, I like basketball, you tend to be not as bulky. I bulked up to my dad was one of the first bodybuilders in the world. So I can bulk up if I want to. Right now I'm cutting. So I can bulk up to like 180, 175. My dad was Mr. Canada, Puerto Rico, New York, Mr. Junior USA. So I grew up around bodybuilders. So yes, I can lift, but I tend to like, I like team sports. So basketball is my thing. And if you do a lot of cardio as a guard, it's hard to put on a lot of mass. But sometimes I like that. I just tend to like team sports better. What am I, Tai, in reading? I'm probably a 10. Not many people that read more than me. In terms of the gym, it depends. So basketball, I like a lot more. So it's easier for me to be at 10. Gym, I've never liked the gym. Like my dad was a gym rat, man. My dad just lifted, he had the world record bench press for his weight, and it was never my thing to be massive, you know? So, yeah. So, favorite team? Lakers, man. Do I read multiple books at the same time? Yes. I don't even tell people how I read because people won't believe me. People have a hard time, enough time reading. I read 1 book a day. If I tell people I read 3 books a day, what do you think people are going to say? They're going to say I lie. So I don't even bother. I don't read to show off. You read a cleaner like Michael Jordan. He was playing the game for the game's sake. Some of you dudes that lift weights, you ever seen that documentary of the guy with the biggest biceps in the world? I saw him at the ArcLight movie theater. He looks horrible. I wanted to say, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, I know what you're doing. You're lifting weights to show off, and you look like a retard. That's what I wanted to say to him, but you know, it's none of my business. So, yeah, when someone says, do you even lift, bro? I'm gonna be like, do you even read, bro? I like that. Do I read cover to cover? I do, but I teach newbies how to smart read. People get very confused on that. All right, how many pounds am I? Right now, I'm 164. My waist is 31.8. So I've gotten my weight. Like, you want to cut for a dude, you just want to cut weight. Right now, my waist, I need to be. The #1 male model in the world is 6'2", and he has a 27-inch waist. Like, that's the ultimate V shape. That's very hard to do. I forget what his name is, Gandhi or something like that. But now I'm 164. So I want to cut to, like, you know, it depends. I actually like to bulk up. Right now I'm working on that. So, you know, one thing, I'll tell you something interesting about weights. So, you see, I got big forearms. You know why I have big forearms? Because I worked on a farm. And the strongest dudes in the world, it's all about forearms. Biceps are a bullshit muscle. I will tell you this, if you ever get grabbed by a dude who has, I do jujitsu, you ever get grabbed by a guy with strong hands and strong forearms, he's gonna kick your ass. I'll tell you that. So biceps is a muscle that's not useful, but it looks good, so that's great. If you want, I'll tell you the dudes that you never mess with. Dudes with big backs, low center of gravity, big forearms, strong hands, and fucked up ears and nose. Like, I've had my nose broken, but I used to train with a dude, Brad. He was in UFC 1, and he was also, he grew up in the Shaolin Temple in Chinese, even though he was American. He was a Navy SEAL. Dude, that guy's face was like, holy crap. I used to date Juliana Nogueira, so her brothers are the twin brothers, Minotauro Nogueira. He was a UFC champion, Pride champion. He's older now, but he's a legend. He's like Michael Jordan level. Those dudes' face are so smashed in, ears. He got hit by a truck and almost chopped in half. His whole body is like stitched together. So low center of gravity. If you meet a dude who's like 5'8", 220 pounds and knows how to wrestle, he is going to break your neck. People don't realize, like, tall dudes are good boxers sometimes, but in a fight, especially with jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, it's a different deal. So a lot of dudes, I tell them, work on your forearms, but that's another thing. When I used to be on a farm, like, you milk cows, you get big shoulders and forearms. Your biceps, you know, bicep is only this muscle, and you never use that. Like, in a fight, you grab people and pull them in. And so Forearms is what you really want. Little side note. Where can I send you the pictures? So I'm launching a health program soon. Okay? Women love forearms. Yes. Women like hands. A lot of dudes have strong hands. That's why I lift weights, do pull-ups and stuff. Like I can do a lot of one-arm pull-ups. And never wear gloves, because then you don't want your hands feeling like, especially as a dude, you don't want soft hands. One time, a cool story, Joel Salatin, he met the governor of Virginia, or it might have been a president. It was pretty funny. They shook his hand, and they turned to Joel Salatin and said, "What do you do?" Those guys have like, the Amish have like bodybuilder fingers, like one of their fingers. You ever seen somebody with huge fingers? Yeah, those are the guys that are really, really strong. So never have soft hands as a dude. All right, so I want to give the book, the next book, for those of you in the VIP. For those of you not in the VIP, you don't need to focus on this right now. I think I'm going to do the book that I said. I was conflicted which book I wanted to do. Where did I just put it? It's on your phone, I think. Oh, yes. Good, thank you. No, actually, I want to do a different one. I brought it over here. Have we done, tell me if we've done the self-made billionaire one.
Yeah, we have.
In the VIP?
For view.
What's up, man?
Oh, Neil Patel's going to be here in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so I was just
I'm
seeing
almost
if
done.
you were going to keep going so you could say hi on camera, but if not, that's cool.
Oh, he can. I can stay on here.
Okay.
All right, so let me give, I might need a second. You know what? I want to do this book. So, in the program, I want you guys, I talk a lot about Starbucks. All right? This is an interesting book. This is the story of Starbucks. Now, for those of you in the program, we talk about the good life, health, wealth, love, and happiness. This is the book that I want you to read. It's by Howard Schultz. It's called Onward. So this is a business book, but it is a great story of, you know, how you build a company. It's a pretty fascinating book. It talks about innovation. It talks about how to stick to what you're doing. It talks about truth in crisis. It talks about the recession, 2008. It talks about, you know, the fact how to be bold, benevolent. You know, Howard Schultz, he had health insurance for everybody in the program, all right? Which is, I mean, everybody in his company. He made it that way, all right? So, this is a very powerful book. And one thing that I want you guys to do is always study people who have done great things. Whether they're Genghis Khan, which hopefully nobody here wants to be the next Genghis Khan and kill people, but you still learn strategy in life. You can't try to look for saints. So Howard Schultz, whether or not you like Starbucks and big corporations, you always learn. As the Art of War book says, Sun Tzu, written in 500 BC, he says, if you know yourself, but not your enemy, for every battle you win, you lose one. You don't want to be that person. He says then, if you don't know yourself and don't know your enemy, you lose every battle. But if you know yourself and the enemy, so you can define the enemy as competition. People have gone before you, not people who aren't saints. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a saint. He never said he was. You know, he's had his fair share of scandals. Bill Clinton, fair share of scandals. You still learn from them. Abraham Lincoln said, I learned from everybody that I met, even if sometimes it was the wrong thing. In a second here, one of my buddies is going to come on, Neil Patel. He's showing up at the office. So I'm going to stay on here a little bit longer, so I'll answer more questions. So this is the book in 2 weeks. For those of you watching that aren't in the program, you got to get with it because you're not allowed on this call. I'm showing everybody today who's in the 67 Steps VIP program how to use, here's Meerkat, and here is, Periscope. So, let me talk for a second. I forgot I'm going to open up the accelerator for you people. So here's how the accelerator works. I'm not going to talk too much on it because most of you already know, but I'm going to open it up for 10 minutes for those of you who want to get in. So the way that I see life is that you got these 4 areas that you have to master and be relentless in. So H, W, L, H. Health, wealth, physical health, financial wealth, love, and happiness. 4 things you must master. If you don't do those, and you only do 1 or 2 of them, guess what? You'll be like this guy that I know of who's one of the wealthiest people in the world, has about $2 billion. I think it might be a little more. He has a private 747 jet, but he's so fat and unhealthy that he basically is stuck in bed. So who here would trade lives for him? Nobody, right? So it's like juggling. Now, the question though is, which one do you optimize first? Because you can't optimize 4 things at once. My friend has a PhD in multi-objective optimization. Okay? And you can't do it. Even I was talking to, some of you guys saw that I was hanging out with Elon Musk. And I was also talking to Ashley Vance, who wrote the book on Elon Musk. And Ashley Vance, the cord's starting to fall over here. Ashley Vance said, even Elon Musk, he's primarily focused on SpaceX. Okay? So even though he has Tesla, his cousin runs Solar City, his main thing. So you could optimize for all 4. I don't think you should optimize for happiness, because happiness is like a cat. So somebody says scratch that back. I wasn't scratching my back. I have a microphone in here, so the cord was running down the wrong way. So you can't optimize for happiness very well, because happiness is like this cat. Every time you want to scratch a cat, it runs away from you. It's a little bit like that. If you're a guy or a woman, if you're dating somebody at the beginning stages, if you go too aggressively after them, they're going to leave, because there's that old saying that we move away from things that pursue us, right? Voltaire, the French philosopher, said, it's not enough to conquer, you have to seduce. And that's how your brain is. You have to be seduced into happiness. Now, there's obviously some things you can do to increase happiness. I just read a book by the Dalai Lama, and he talks a lot about, practice of mindfulness and meditation. Those things can help. But unless you're the Dalai Lama and want to spend 5 hours a day optimizing for happiness, I think this should be last. Even though you don't want to do things that are counter to happiness. You don't want to just destroy your happiness. But so happiness. And by the way, if you're watching on Periscope, go ahead and share this, and everybody who shares this stream and same on Periscope, Meerkat, I'll answer your questions first. So there's a little button to share or restream. So I don't think you should do this one first. Love and social life, I don't think you should do that one first. Why? Because social life improves primarily through status. And people don't like to hear that. I'm not talking about false status. So there is false status. False status is where you pretend to be something you're not. See, some people think that I'm pretending to have a Lamborghini and Ferrari. I don't rent those cars. Never have rented a fancy car. I've rented cars at the airport, like when I travel on business, but I've never rented a car. Those are my cars. So you don't want to artificially. The Maserati is also my car. Thank you for adding it. The Bugatti that I drove Sunday was not my car. It was a test drive, and I write that. So I don't try to mislead anybody. I don't really care. So status, you want earned status. Charlie Munger, the self-made billionaire partner with Warren Buffett, says, the earned respect of your peers is the sweetest feeling on earth. And it is. When you rightfully are respected for your skill, that's a good feeling. And our brain is built to have dopamine responses. It's how our DNA is. You can't fight your DNA, okay? So social life, you have to increase status, and then naturally you're more attractive to the opposite sex. Naturally you attract higher level mentors. Naturally you attract investors, okay? So you can't just go, oh, I want everybody to love me. And people try these little techniques, like pickup artists teach you how to do negging girls. okay? Or, you know, they teach you, look somebody in the eye and shake their hand. I'm like, do you think that works on me? If somebody comes to me and knows how to shake their hand, my hand, and look in my eyes, do you think I go, oh, this is someone I want to invest in? No, you can't fool me. Because it takes me 15 minutes and I'll know your true status. So status is earned. And the best way to earn it leaves us with these two. So you have physical health and you have wealth. So humans are visual creatures, always will be. Beauty and health is a reflection. Beauty is not skin deep. That is the stupidest thing before modern science. We now know aesthetic beauty is a reflection of DNA. So the average person in the womb has between 100 and 300 mutations. The more mutations you have, the less healthy you are, the less structure in terms of beauty you get. So Brad Pitt, better looking guy than me, okay? Johnny Depp, because it's a reflection of you know, better processes that happen. Now, you don't need to, you know, I don't freak out by that. You can do fine not being a supermodel woman or man, but I also don't delude myself to think it's skin deep. It's not skin deep. So the good news is there's so much you can optimize about your own body just by diet, lifting, exercise, blah, blah, blah. So you could start with health. The problem is there's a lot of good science. What's the number one health issue that most people have? It's not what you think. It's inflammation, okay? And inflammation comes from processed food. It comes from, they call this, you can do a blood test. I think it's called CPD levels. What is it? Look it up. It's your inflammation levels. I forget it. It's C something. So what's the other big thing that causes stress and cortisol? So when you have high levels of cortisol, you will have higher levels of inflammation. CRP, thank you. So what's the number one stressor that people have? It's generally financial. And that's why study after study finds that wealth and financial, now you don't have to be a billionaire, but you need to have financial stability, okay? And so I think that you seek this one first. Now you also have to keep at least, you know, some level of health. You don't want to just try to get money and destroy your health at the same time. I'm not advocating that, but I'm saying I would rather optimize around this and then quickly pivot into that. Okay, once you get these two, these will start falling in place. How are you going to be happy if you're in massive pain? I just watched that movie, what did I say it was called? Fat, Broke, and Nearly Dead. It's on Netflix, a documentary about a guy who goes from 320 pounds down to basically not quite six-pack level, but very healthy by going on a 62-day juice fast. And he says in that movie that about 70% of people's pains, there's a doctor in there, is related to their weight. So when you're in pain, it's hard to have happiness, okay? Obviously, happiness divides. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize about happiness. And it's a tricky thing. So wealth brings freedom, which allows you, for example, to have the time to go to the gym. It allows you time to get a personal trainer. It allows you the ability to have someone help you cook well. It allows you to afford higher quality food and things like that. So this is my personal thing. You can argue both sides. You know, you obviously wouldn't want to get wealth at the expense of health. You kind of have to do these at the same time, but I would focus a little more. And here's the other reason. It's harder to get wealth than physical health. So you got to put anything that's harder, you have to put more energy into. Arnold Schwarzenegger, his body, his chest naturally got big, but his calves were always his weakness. So he had to put more effort into his calves. He began to put 1,000-pound weights on his calf raises. He went down to South Africa and studied under a guy named Reg Park who taught him that. So that's what I'm saying. In these four, for the 99% of humans, you and I, it's much harder for us to get our financial stability. So I built this program. There's a lot of ways that you can make more money. A lot of people, there's all these myths. You can work harder. But if that was true, then the bus boys would make more money than the restaurant owners. They work harder than the restaurant owner, trust me. You know, people who work in a coal mine would be richer than computer people, but it's not. It's not just how hard you work. So, these theories about money, I'll tell you the best theory I know. If you want to make more money and change your financial status, the best thing you can do, write this word down, is immersion. So just imagine today you snap your fingers, Warren Buffett sends you a letter, Bill Gates sends you a letter, Steve Jobs, if he was alive, Mark Zuckerberg, these guys send you letters. George Soros, he's an investor, he made $1 billion in one day one time. They give you a call and they say, hey, Bob, Susie, you know what? Come chill with me for a year. I'll show you everything I know. Just come hang out. I'm not going to teach you in a classroom. I'm going to show you. Come watch me doing my deals. Come watch me buying real estate. Come watch me build companies. Come watch me negotiate. Come watch me raise investment capital. Come watch me hire people, decide which business partner. Come watch me build this corporate structure. Watch me how I optimize, myself financially, blah, 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 all this, okay? This is what people need in the world. So if you have the ability, there's programs called incubators and accelerators in Silicon Valley, which is up around San Francisco. You can move there and you can apply to be in these programs. Now the problem with these programs is, like, there's a famous one, and they get 10,000 applications a year and they take 10 people. That's it. 10 people. So it's not very good odds. So you have a better chance to get into Harvard. So, but if you can get in, I hope one of you or two of you can, you'll have the ability to be immersed with top venture capital and entrepreneurs. You can spend a tremendous amount of time with them, immerse with them. My biggest gains when I knew nothing, I came out of high school, I had no freaking money, no direction, I was lost. Joel Salatin invited me randomly. We didn't even know him. We had just read a book and visited. He said, hey man, come and work on my farm. I moved up there, had a little cabin with no electricity or no heat in the Shenandoah Valley, and I lived with him and his family, him and his wife and 2 kids. And Joel Salatin said, for 2 years, I worked side by side on a farm for 10 hours a day, sometimes 15 hours, and I just was immersed. And I went from like a city reject, because most people, those of us, I was born in Long Beach, California. If you've seen the movie Straight Outta Compton, that's where I was. Long Beach and Compton, they're kind of the borders. Snoop Dogg comes from Long Beach. NWA comes from Compton. My dad was in prison. I was born there to a single mom. She did her best raising me, but she didn't know all the ways of the world, that you have to learn. So I kind of just grew up. I didn't grow up. It had ups and downs, And so what happened is, when I went there to Joel Salatin, I was around 18 or 19. I was really on the ways of the world, like this is a 0. I was like right there. And after 2 years, I just accelerated up. Now I could have learned the hard way, but it would have taken me an extra 10 years. So you say you're from Harlem. My dad's from Harlem. But then when he got put in prison on an island off of Long Beach called Terminal Island, I would have been born in Harlem. I actually would have been born in the Bronx, I think, but my mom said that the FBI kicked the door down when she was pregnant with me and had guns, took my dad away. And so my mom moved to be near my dad. And so this immersion level, okay, this is the most powerful thing you can do. And the beauty of social network, like Periscope, Meerkat, those of you on the live call, is this program is kind of like an immersion. I'm trying to pass on things that these guys immersed me as best I can. We have people in 40 countries here. You can't all come here to Hollywood. I get a lot of people following my stuff now. I just looked at the stats. Over 100 million people this year, since January, have watched. And I'm not just talking about 5 seconds. I'm talking about actually viewed videos. We can see that I just looked. It just passed 100 million. in terms of how many times videos have been shown, it passed 1 billion. But these are people who literally watched. So if I just say, come hang out with me in Hollywood, I'll get 10, 20, 30,000 people. It's not realistic. I wouldn't be able to help anybody. And I don't really see me as a mentor like that. I see me more as like a conduit. There's so many smarter people, more experienced. I can't be experienced in everything. There's certain things I'm very good at. There's some things I'm maybe the best in the world at as entrepreneurs, but it's a very small circle of competence. I'm not the best in the world. There's hundreds of things that you need to know in life. And so what I do is I interview those people, I put videos up, and what I do though is I built my own accelerator. So instead of you having to move to Silicon Valley, I need another whiteboard here. Instead of you guys having to move here, I built an online accelerator that no matter where you live in the world, you can focus on. And this online accelerator is a program specifically focused on finances. Okay? So there's 3 levels to it. Everybody starts right here. You got to start in the money program. And by the way, so people ask me why I charge money for this. And the reason I charge money is I follow an exact formula passed on to me, which I recommend you do, from my mentor, Joel Salatin. This is persuade. These are the 3 levels. You have to earn your way. You start here, and you got to earn your way into the next entrepreneur and persuasion one. So, some of you are in the 67 Steps program. That's the basic. So that's the beginner one over here. That's what you guys are in. And so these next level ones, okay, are very focused on finances. And I believe this is what you have to do. So I follow a very precise formula that my mentor taught me, which is give away a lot of stuff for free. Add a lot of value in the world. Add 70, 80%. What's up, man?
It's actually else here. You can say hi.
How you doing?
Say hi.
I don't want to disturb your call.
No.
You want to pop in and say hello?
Say hi.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a very awesome, famous entrepreneur here, Neil Patel. He's popping in. What's up, man? How are you?
Nice shirt.
You want to say hello to the? We got live stream, we got Periscope, and we have Meerkat. Coming a little bit closer. So yeah, we're talking about entrepreneurial. Maybe I'll ask you a question here. I'll put you on the spot. So I was talking about the good life, which is being physically healthy, financial wealth, social life, love, and happiness. You got to juggle all 4. You weren't born rich, right?
No, I was not born rich.
What do you think was the biggest, now that you've had a level of success, what's the biggest change freedom-wise? And this is not rehearsed, by the way, so.
Okay, so I probably have less freedom. I have to work more because every one of your customers is your boss.
Right.
And you probably don't enjoy life as much when you make more versus when you make less.
So why do you work? Why do you keep doing it?
I'm addicted to work. That's really the answer.
So you get a dopamine rush you're like Schwartzman. Schwartzman gets this. He says it's like a bird hidden in a cage. It's like you always have to get the bigger rush. Do you ever fear that? Are you worried that you won't, that you miss out on things?
That's why I work. It's my version of like cocaine or whatever. I've never done a drug, but business is a drug for me.
Awesome. So what's the biggest lesson as you built, and he's a humble guy, so when he says he has less freedom, there's truth to that, but there's also, I can play devil's advocate. If you want to come down and visit LA, you just come to LA.
Yeah, to that extent.
If you want to live in Vegas, you live in Vegas now.
Yeah, I have freedom from that aspect, or I can eat wherever I want, or travel wherever I want. So yes, to the other extent, you do have some freedom, but from a time perspective, you are working all the time. You're spending less time with family, right?
Yeah.
You could spend more time, but name one entrepreneur that's really successful. That's
Joel
not
Salatin.
and he spends more time with family than working.
Dude, he integrates them. They just work all together.
That's rare, but most people, they see their wives less. Look at
Yeah.
people like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
You're telling me he sees his wife and kids all the time? No, he probably spends most of his time working.
I was just doing a thing with Elon Musk. He brings his kids to SpaceX, He
That's
just
awesome.
sits them. He just brings them. It's a funny story. Ashley Vance, who wrote this new book out and wrote the only authorized version of Elon Musk's biography, says Elon Musk is has the only kids in the world that are bored at a space station. They're like, "Oh, Dad, we gotta go hang out with rocket ships again." Now, do you think for somebody watching this, because people have different levels. I was just talking to Ryan Holiday. Do you think it's possible to just say, I want to make $300,000 and I'm going to focus on that, optimize that financial, and then I'm going to use I'm going to create spare time for myself and do other things. Someone doesn't have to be as driven as you.
Yes, there's a lot of people like that. Even my CTO, he makes good money. He only works 10 hours a week. The rest of the time he spends with his family. And that's it. He won't work 11 hours a week. And you know what? It makes him happy and he should do it.
He does 11 hours a week?
No, 10. He won't do
10 hours a week.
10 hours a week.
And he makes good money.
He makes great money.
Yeah. So the reason you don't do like him is just your constitution is different.
Yeah, for me, as bad as this may sound, money makes me happy. It's like a scoreboard. It's not what you can buy with the money. It's just a game. And that's all I want to do is just keep making more of it. I'll probably end up giving it all away one day, but there's no purpose. It's not like I want to buy a bigger home or I don't even have a car.
So if somebody's watching this and because was there a time where you had a lot of stress about money?
Yes, I've lost a lot of money too.
You've lost that. What is the biggest thing you did to go from completely stressed out? What was the big kind of moment when you knew you didn't have the same kind of stresses?
It was focusing what I'm good at and then figuring out how to execute and prioritize. So once you figure out, hey, this is what I'm good at, this is what other people value, and this is how I can make money, and just prioritizing and cutting everything else off. Because the problem with people is they put a lot of the stress that they have in life on themselves.
Right.
A lot of the things that freaks you out or makes you, and you're like, think about even arguments that you have in your personal relationship. A lot of times you don't have to argue. You can just say, you know what, this is small, it's petty, let me just let it go.
Yeah.
So the same thing happens in business. Just focus on what does well for you or what you like doing and what makes you money. And you can cut off a lot of the stuff that's not producing any of the income. Because you watch, you're probably spending at least 50% of your time on things that aren't producing any future growth for you.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Hold that thought. I want to do a separate thing, but that was awesome, man.
Thanks.
I'm coming off the air. Me and Neil are hanging out here, so I just put him on the spot. I'll be out there in a few minutes, man. By the way, if you guys don't know who that is, that was a big treat for you guys. It's a very famous entrepreneur, and he's one of the real thought leaders in the world, and you guys just got a little pop in. He's going to be an accelerator. I'm working with him on some stuff. This is going to be life-changing stuff. So let me just talk about that accelerator. If you want to get in, I'm going to keep it up for maybe only 5 minutes now because I got to go hang out with him. If you want to get an accelerator, you can't. If you're on this Periscope here, for those of you on the live call, we're going to show a button. Can we show the button? Yeah. So the way you get in, it's one-time payment of $9.97. Okay, that gets you into the money program. That's the beginning. You're going to learn. There's 4 things you're going to get. You're going to get 2 times a month interaction with me, specifically about money. You're going to get you're going to get access to the vault because you guys are late. I've been doing these twice a month interactions, okay, for years. These are the things I train my CEOs. I got all that in the vault, about 60 hours of this insider info you won't get anywhere. If you want to hire me, I charge $1 million a year for one-on-one stuff. So about $10,000 an hour. There's about $600,000 worth of advice that you're getting for this one-time fee. Third, I just put this behind-the-scenes badass stuff. I've been recording me building. I love to build new companies. I've been building new companies all the time. I invest in, and you can watch me build them. I've got cameras running in my office. And lastly, what I call mini talks. You can access this whole accelerator and immerse yourself just on your phone. Okay? The mini talks where I talk on 50, 60 different subjects related to how to invest, real estate, how to build your first business, how to get investors, how to get people to pay attention to you, marketing techniques, social networking, how to advertise, how to pick business partners, where you should live if you want to make money. Should you live in a small town, big town? Should you move? Should you stay? So on and on and on and on. More stuff. You name it, it's in there. And so for some of you that seems like a lot of money. It's $3 a day. Not a lot of money. So the way it works is you click the button here. I'm just going to have it up for 7 minutes, I think. You click the button, takes you to the application page. You put in your credit card info. It's a 256-bit SSL encrypted deal. You can also call. So if you want to call the office, I installed 15 phone lines. So if you call and it's busy, just call back because we start to get too many people, especially when I only open it for a limited time. You can also email Maya at tailopez.com. She'll answer, or my staff will answer. Or you can just click the button. It's best to just click the button. Good news for you. I'm not going to talk too long on this. If you have any questions, once you apply, somebody from my application team will call you. Okay, sorry. It's 1-800-604-2587. 1-800-604-2587. It's Maya at tailopez.com. And I'm going to throw in one bonus thing for you guys. For the people who apply in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to give you the ability to ask me one question about your plan. You send me by email your plan. I will personally review it. I never do that except with this bonus thing, ever, unless people pay me $10,000 an hour. And I don't even like to do that. It's a one-time fee. And do you have to pay extra for the twice a month? No, it's all included. So the 67 steps in the VIP is separate. It's the basic program. This is the accelerator immersion program. So there's enough stuff in there right now. You get in, there's 50, 60, 70 hours of stuff you can watch, and I'm continually creating new videos, getting guys like Neil Patel. It's not just me, it's most cutting edge guys. I had a guy on, these guys are running $100 million businesses. So $997 is just one-time payment to get into the money level. If you qualify for the others, we have other price points. It does not cover all. The $997 is not for all 3 levels. People get confused. Everybody has to start with the money. You gotta know money. You can't be an entrepreneur or do marketing without money. So this is the most important part. Once you're in there, you can talk to the team about other stuff if you qualify, but most people don't qualify to be in the higher level stuff. If you're more advanced, you can talk to the team, and the $997 counts towards the other stuff. All right? So you click the button. While I wait for that and that button's up, I'm going to answer questions. Periscope, Meerkat, I'm going to answer questions here on Periscope and Meerkat. If you want me to answer, you need to share first. All right? So there's a little button where you can reshare this. Then I will give you the first rights to answer questions. So let's have it right here. Okay. How do I see these calls later? If you're in the VIP program, there's an archive that you can see. Somebody says it's $2.73 a day. Yes. People always want to do big things, but they ain't willing to invest big time. All the money I've ever made growing up, I always reinvest it. It's tax deductible, educational programs like this. The number, yeah, it's upside down. It's 800. It's the number on my website. If you go to tailopez.com, you'll see the phone number. All right. How do you send the plan? If you get an accelerator, you email just support and you just say my personal plan, and they'll print it off and I'll dictate an answer. So you'll get the answer from, someone said customer service is great. Yeah, we're here 7 days a week. Good news is if you get an accelerator, doesn't work for you, we'll refund you 100%. Okay? 100%. Very liberal. So those of you who are fear-based, you're worried, what if I don't like it? Then get your money back. Very rarely do ever people ask for the money back. So I'm very liberal on that. All right, let's take a question on Meerkat or Periscope. What happened to the prank with Vitaly? Oh, we were just hanging out. I didn't do a prank with him. I have money to invest. Can I invest in your company? Sometimes we let in investors, but usually you have to be accredited. So email that investor question, just Tai at Tai Lopez, and just put a question about investment. Yeah, share in Twitter, yes. top 10 life-changing books. Look on tailopez.com/books. Life-changing one, Richard Dawkins. I just talked to him on the phone. The Selfish Gene. Do I drink alcohol ever? I'm not that big on alcohol. I never saw the big kick from it. I don't need to be removed from reality. My reality already has a rush to it. I don't need false rushes. I drove a Bugatti. That's a better rush than any shot of alcohol you can take. Sometimes I'll drink wine. I'm not anti-alcohol. I really don't care about it that much. I could go my whole life without drinking. Seminar in Melbourne. You know, one of my friends was telling me he wants me to rent out the Sydney Opera House. What product invention book can you suggest? There's a great book called Disrupt This, I think it is. Disrupt You. This is a cool book. For those of you who want to catch new trends, Disrupt You is a great one. All right. Let's see, a few more questions. What do you think about nightclub investing? I did stuff in nightclubs. You can make some money. It's good business to start out. Time recently employed, got laid off, been following your 67 steps in Blue Belt. Do you have any suggestions? So if you are struggling financially, focus on becoming an intrapreneur. Go find an innovative company anywhere in the world that'll take you in your town or somewhere else, and go work there for a little bit. It's the best way. 70% of billionaires worked as an intrapreneur in somebody else's business. Okay? By the way, there's like 3 minutes left to get an accelerator. So don't be somebody who sucks your thumb. All right? Do never suck your thumb in life. That's what Warren Buffett says. He hates those people. All right. What was it? Do I know Caleb Maddox on Periscope? I do not. Where can we get that shirt? I'm going to be launching a t-shirt brand, a fashion brand actually. So you guys, I'll be giving you some of that stuff, options. I reinvested most of my money on equipment for my company and a little on education. Spend a lot of money on education because equipment you can lease. Oftentimes if you own a gym and stuff, don't buy the equipment because the way the tax depreciation works, it's not as good of an option. I lost a lot of money. My wife doesn't trust me anymore. Okay, you got to immerse yourself around people who didn't lose a lot of money. That's how you learn to not lose money. You don't want to learn the hard way. Learning the hard way is nasty. It's really, really nasty. Is neuromarketing important? Yes. I have a full-time neuroscientist on staff. We study the brain. One of the things you're going to learn in Accelerator is how to use the natural 25 cognitive biases of the brain to get 1 million people or more to pay attention to your idea. Okay? So, about 1 minute left. I'm going to head out. Those of you on the VIP call, I hope you paid attention to how to use Periscope and Meerkat. This is the book, Onward, Howard Schultz. I want you learning from a man who built a company that's in some ways the most well-known brand in the world. Everybody knows McDonald's, everybody knows Starbucks. Will I ever salsa dance? Yeah. I used to be like a competitive salsa dancer when I owned nightclubs. One last question. Aren't there more than 25 cognitive biases? Yeah, but they kind of become a subset. There's a lot of logical fallacies. There's about 105 logical fallacies. Those are different though. Cognitive biases are basically your brain is built for a primitive environment, and in the modern environment your brain can't adjust properly. Logical fallacies are basically incorrect ways of piecing things together. They're related, but they're similar. 16-year-old from Bangladesh. How are you? I almost was in Bangladesh. I've been in India before. What industry is the best to invest your time in? Easy answer. I'm going to end in that. Focus. For those of you who have been in the program, be relentless in just one thing. Neil Patel was here. He said his secret where he went from broke to making a lot of money was being relentless on one thing. You know, you don't have to be good at everything. Where can you find the 25 biases? We have those in the persuasion program. Not many people know those. I'm one of the few people in the world that talks about those. So, thanks so much for being on this VIP call. See you in 2 weeks. Okay? Now, make sure you've downloaded Meerkat and Periscope, because if you're in the accelerator, or you're in the 67 Cent VIP, I will answer your questions throughout the week. So I'll be talking to you hopefully between now and 2 weeks. But you got 2 weeks to read that book, okay? So thanks so much, and all of you got an accelerator, congratulations, and talk to you guys soon.